financial problems, elder law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is challenging issues in Social Security, disability, and workers' compensation. Ladies first, Jenny Lingl, good morning.
Hi, Ken. Good to be here today.
Brian Small.
A pleasure.
Corey Silverstein.
Good morning. Great to see you.
Our criminal law expert, back again.
Pleasure to see you again. And
We're
Jenny,
not talking about drunk driving or domestic violence today, Corey.
I promise I will not talk about handcuffs.
Jeffrey Kirshner, welcome. Jeffrey, you're
Getting a little warmed up here.
You're the man on the spot today. We're talking about Social Security, disability, workers' compensation. Before we do the challenging issues that are faced, I want to kind of recap some of the basic rules. What do I have to establish to succeed on a Social Security disability claim?
Well, a couple things here. First of all, you have to have earned credits. You have to have worked in 5 of the past 10 years or 20 of the past 40 quarters in order to be eligible for Social Security disability benefits. Then, once you get through that hurdle, then you have to be unable to work for 12 months or longer, or at the time they determine your case, if it's been less than 12 months that you've been off of work, the anticipated duration of your disability has to be 12 months or longer.
So I got a medical requirement that says I can't have worked for 12 months or I'm not going to be able to work for 12 months. And I've got like a financial requirement that says I have to have these credits.
Right.
And what about I also have to have, I can't be earning too much money from working as a laborer or as doing wages.
Well, that's afterwards. If you're unable to work, but you're still working just a little bit, then it becomes the amount of work that you're actually performing as to whether or not you're considered to be disabled.
There was that whole 5-year thing out of in quarters and stuff. What is there an exception if, let's say, I'm just new to the workforce, I'm 19 years old, 20 years old, and I got injured at doing something other than work, and now I'm no longer able to work?
Right.
Am I just precluded from filing for Social Security disability?
Not at all. When you're younger than 30, then those requirements change. They shift a little bit because it would be impossible then for you to have 10 years of work because it's 5 of the past 10 years. So it does shift based on how old you are in terms of how many quarters
So you have to have
put
some
in.
quarters in.
Correct. You still have to have some quarters in, but it's reduced the younger you are from 30 in terms of what you have to contribute to the system in order to be eligible.
Right, so what about workers' comp? That's a different thing.
Totally different
What are
world.
my requirements in order to be able to collect compensation under the workers' compensation laws?
Well, number one, above all, you have to be an employee. And that's something that people don't fully understand. You can't be an independent contractor. There must be an employer-employee
What if I'm
relationship.
working as a volunteer?
If you're a volunteer, then you are a volunteer and you're not an employee. You have to have, above all, an employer-employee relationship.
That's one that really grinds me. But I understand that the law is the law. But if you think about it, you're volunteering your services to work for, say, a charitable organization or somewhere. You're working as a volunteer, and you're injured at work. There's no workers' compensation to protect you?
There is no comp. Now, if you're
But that
injured-
would be Social Security disability would then be available to you.
could be if you're going to be off for 12 months
Well,
or
can
longer.
I sue? I could sue the place if I get injured if there's no workers' comp.
Depending on
right?
how, I was about to say that, depending on how you get injured, then they don't have the protection then under workers' comp of the exclusive provision of workers' compensation. So if there was some negligence involved, yes, then you could sue whoever you're doing the volunteer work for, the facility where you're doing it at.
Now,
But if-
Jeff, would you file for both workers' comp and Social Security disability, or are you only allowed to file for one?
No, you can actually have both, and I have plenty of cases in which I have individuals who are seeking workers' compensation, injured in the course of their employment and can't work, but at the same time, either they've been off for 12 months or it's pretty certain that these people are going to be off for 12 months or longer, and so I do have concurrent cases going with people.
Would the filing of a Social Security claim or a workers' compensation claim stop that person's ability from being able to initiate a private lawsuit later if they so wanted to?
No, it never precludes you from doing that. Now, there's some trickiness to filing a Social Security claim and a workers' compensation claim because you are making a claim that you are unable to work. When you go back to work, though, that's where there's some trickiness as to whether or not you still have for Social Security. If you've had 12 months, you go back to work, you can still have that.
Ask you a quick hypothetical.
Sure.
Well, like a little make-up story. I have private disability insurance.
Okay.
I have all my quarters in credits. Okay. I'm at the office. Corey, Brian, and I get into a heated debate about something. We end up getting into this horrific fight, and as strange as this would sound, I end up losing the fight, and I'm now severely injured. I'm also very angry at Corey and Brian, but that's besides the point. I'm injured because we got into this fight. Can I now claim workers' compensation because I was at the office? Can I get Social Security disability because I'm not going to be able to work for a year? And can I collect the insurance on my private policy?
And does Corey get his phone call?
Well, first of all, I'm actually I'm,
Corey and Brian, for that matter.
I'm kind of interested in Ken's visualization of this
I
three-way
like
brawl.
law
Yeah,
school.
that's
brawl
This is a
going
law
on.
school hypothetical.
Vegas
in the
odds are
hallway.
on this man winning. That's all I'm saying.
I'm a dirty fighter.
That's
so
all I'm saying.
I don't know, man.
But so you threw a lot at me
You
here.
obviously don't know who goes to the gym and who does. Go on.
Okay, so could you get workers' compensation? The answer is maybe. Because of the scenario you said where it's a fight, in order to get workers' compensation, you have to get injured while in the course and scope of your employment. So if it's considered to be horseplay, then it may not be covered under workers' compensation. So just because something happens to you at work, because you're physically at
We
your
were arguing
employment.
about a case, and we were insulting each other, and one of us threw the first punch. I'm not sure who it was. Corey intervened to try and break it up, and then we both attacked him, and then somehow I ended up becoming the loser.
Why does the
and
new guy
becoming
get picked
injured.
on? Wait
this
a
is like
second there.
this entire
was
scenario.
trying to help.
This is like
Yes.
So
The
the
answer is
question
yes.
is it a work-related
we-
injury,
we-
or were we working outside of work? Was it just a fight? If a normal fight wouldn't be.
A normal fight
work-related.
wouldn't be, but in that type of scenario, I would be able to take that fact pattern and make it to be in the course and scope of your employment. So yes, we could get workers' compensation.
And then regardless of that, if I'm disabled, I'm disabled.
Right.
So if you're disabled, then there's a couple things going on here. That if you're off for 12 months or longer, then that you got Social Security.
Doesn't matter
disability.
if my disability was caused by my own stupidity of getting into a fight.
As long as your disability is not related to an intentional act, such as alcohol or drugs, then you could get
An intentional act to hurt myself.
right.
Let's take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll do other scenarios.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
Will I outlive my money?
Medicaid is so confusing.
A will, or do I need a trust?
What if mom needs to go in a nursing home?
At Samasco Law, we have the answers to all of these questions. Our attorneys will eliminate the confusion and develop a plan that's right for you. We are dedicated to veterans benefits, assisted living, and nursing home care. Samasco Law can help prepare you for a long future. Call Samasco Law today.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so let's do some scenarios. I've got terrible back pain. I've been suffering for it for 5 years. My back is horrible.
Okay, wait. Let's make it more practical. More like, forget the suffering for 5 years. You move a printer. Those things are heavy. You think you can do it yourself. You pick up the printer and you throw out your back. It's an immediate thing.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I want to split here with you on that. My back's been bad
Can't
for
split.
I don't have hair.
My back's been bad for 5 years, but I just did. I went and moved the printer, and now it's like the straw that broke the camel's back, and now I can't move.
But
Okay.
in the context with, compare that to a secretary typing all day long for years and develops carpal tunnel syndrome. In each situation, are you entitled to workers' compensation? In each situation, might you be entitled to Social Security disability? And why would you and why wouldn't you?
And how
Discuss and decide.
What do
yeah.
you do?
All right. So first of all, let's take the easier one first. Is Social Security. Social Security, any ailment, injury, physical, emotional, systemic that prevents you from working, or combination that prevents you from working for 12 months or longer. That's all fair game. So any and all problems that you have, a combination of which, and even so far as medications that you take for those injuries or ailments, if those medications cause adverse side effects.
So let me add to the facts to stay right on that point. So my back went out. I needed fusion surgery. I had the surgery. It didn't go well, and now I'm in so much pain that they're doping me up with all these opiates, and I don't even know. I'm calling him Jeff, you Barry, this is Jenny, and that's Brian. So I'm really messed
I got
up.
the short end of the
I don't
stick.
think Brian looks like Jenny at all.
I can't remember.
Okay. So again, Social
Think your hair's
Security.
a little different,
Tad.
Tad?
So
Social Security is easy.
Do I
So
get it?
The more complicated one is workers' comp. So let's look at each one. So if we're talking about somebody that has a back problem, you've had continuous back problems, may not be work related, and then you do something at work. If I can show, and the law is that if I can show objectively that there was a change of pathology of the underlying condition, that's compensable. So you got a bad back. And if you look at anyone,
So
30s,
lifting
40s,
that
50s,
computer that one time could send me over the edge, and that would be a change in pathology.
sure, we all have degenerative problems with our back. We all wear out. If you looked at anyone's X-rays or MRI, certainly MRIs over time, we all wear out. But it would take a doctor to show that, wait, Ken may have had problems in the past, but now because of what happened with regard to this lifting incident, there's now been a significant change or objective change in the pathology that now made it compensable. So that could be.
Switch to the carpal tunnel, because
Yes.
I have a real situation here of all right, carpal tunnel, can't type anymore, can't do his or her job anymore.
Yes.
Could do it if they got the surgery, because the surgery is generally successful.
Yes.
But they refuse to get the surgery.
That's a
Are
good
they
one.
entitled to workers' comp?
Because they're afraid,
And
or religious reasons, or whatever.
Are they entitled to Social Security disability?
So let's
you
do
could
comp.
get treatment, and it could be fixed.
Okay, so comp-wise, yes, you can get comp because it's a cumulative trauma type of situation, and cumulative trauma over time, if you can establish it's related to work or more related to work than outside factors, then yes, it's compensable under workers' comp, and I see a lot of carpal tunnel syndrome cases and other type of
So the fact
physical
that you
problems.
could get surgery and you don't is
So
not a
that's
defense?
that's the second issue, is to whether or not the treatment is reasonable with regard to carpal tunnel syndrome. I would say that pretty much you would probably have to have that surgery. Refusing to have that surgery might bar you from getting it because it's
On
a
workers'
treatment
comp?
for workers' comp.
What about Social Security
But if
disability?
you had a back injury, though,
No. What about Social Security disability?
well, Social Security disability, they don't look at that issue as to whether or not
So
you
you'd
could
still
do
be
it.
able to collect.
Correct. Correct. But if you have, say, back trauma, if you have a herniated disc or a bulging disc, where there's significant more risk in terms of
surgery.
having surgery, even a surgeon said, look, I could do it, it may cure you, but again,
Could
it may
make you
not,
worse.
or make you worse with scar tissue at all, then you have a right to refuse that. But if you have treatment that has a pretty good likelihood of resolving it, you have an obligation to make yourself better.
That was a great question.
Excellent
So
question.
what it comes down to is in the carpal tunnel, you'd probably have to do the surgery because that would be the reasonable treatment. But because back surgery is more dangerous, you could refuse the surgery and you'd be able to collect.
Right.
Interesting.
But the carpal tunnel, you're going to be able to collect workers' compensation up through your time where your doctor releases you to go back to work.
Right. So you have carpal tunnel syndrome, you can't work, you have surgery, say 6-8 week recovery period of time, then yes, once you're released to go back to work from your doctor, then yes, then your period of disability ends and you're no longer entitled to workers' compensation.
All right, so either I'm the carpal tunnel person or I'm the back person, and I've got this injury. I don't know what to do workers' comp. I don't know Social Security disability. Do I call you to say, what should I do, or am I supposed to know this on my own and just automatically apply?
No, you absolutely need to call me, whether it be workers' comp or Social Security. People make assumptions, and their assumptions 99% of the time are incorrect, or they're sort of correct. And they just call me just for some advice, and I can...
So what would be the norm in this case? Would you file for workers' comp? Would you have me file for workers' comp first and then Social Security disability, or which one comes first, or does it depend, or what?
It depends, but more times than not, it's workers' compensation that's going to come first. Workers' comp is more immediate. It's pretty obvious that you have a work-related problem or condition. You're fighting for your wages at that period of time, as well as medical treatment, so you file comp. It would take a while for us then to figure out whether or not we should file for Social Security or not. Again, you have to be off of work for 12 months or longer, or anticipated that you're going to be off for 12 months or longer for Social Security. So comp inevitably is going to come, that's going to kick in first.
The other week we were talking with Corey about domestic violence. So if I'm a victim of domestic violence and it renders me afraid to leave the house because I'm petrified of being attacked again,
Sure.
and like agoraphobic and I won't go out, that's not a workers' comp claim because it happened domestic violence, but I could potentially get Social Security disability?
Yeah, purely a psych claim, absolutely. Agoraphobia, PTSD, depression, anxiety, things of that nature. Those in and of themselves, as long as it's documented through your physicians, absolutely can get you Social Security.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll ask more questions for Jeff.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
You're all set to retire. You have your home paid off, money in the bank, and sound investments. But if you're not careful, all the things that you work so hard for can disappear. At Samasco Financial, we'll help you prevent that. We go beyond ordinary asset management. We'll safeguard everything that you have by creating a plan made specifically for you. How much can you afford to lose? Nothing. Protect the people that you love and the things that you have. Call Samasco Financial today.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. Want to remind our viewers to listen to us for Law and Reality Live on Praise Network, 93.5, 98.3, and 99.9 FM. Tuesdays, 10 o'clock a.m. and Saturdays, 7 o'clock a.m. Then again on KISS 105.9 Sundays at 7 a.m. Also, check out and listen to us for Law and Reality Here and Now on WMUZ AM 1200, Saturdays 7 a.m. and 2:30 p.m., and WMUZ FM Saturdays at 11 o'clock p.m. Be sure and sign up for our monthly contest. Free $50 Visa gift card, Law and Reality golf hat, and copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Just go to the website, pop in your email address, and you're entered into the contest. We have a seminar coming up on Wednesday, January 9th, 6 to 7:30 p.m. It is time to eliminate the debt. This is a starting of a new year. You want to get a fresh start. You want to look at your debt that you have, get rid of it early on in the year so that 2019 becomes a great year for you. We go over all the methods that we use to preserve future income for you and your family, how to eliminate debt using bankruptcy, how to eliminate debt using our special debt resolution system that we do, which is outside of bankruptcy. Jenny Lingl is going to participate and do a special segment on how to resolve tax issues. The attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Sign up at thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or do it the old-fashioned way and call 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-2357. I want to remind you, you can always come into THAV Gross for a free consultation. Just call 888-235-HELP or go online and sign up. If it's debt issues or estate planning issues with Brian, elder law issues with Pat Simasco, tax issues with Jenny Lingl, criminal law issues with Corey Silverstein, and disability and workers' comp issues with Jeff Kirshner, all of that's available. Just call the office or go online, request a consult, and we'll schedule you in. Also, understand something. When you come in for a free consult, it's not a meet and greet. When you come in, it's an opportunity to really have your problem analyzed thoroughly so that you know what your options are, and then you can proceed forward and make a decision. Also, go online and get our free reports. We have a brand new report, Resolving Tax Issues, The Real Solutions, written by Jenny Lingl and myself. And then we also have How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan, and The Retiree's Guide to Social Security from Pat Simasco. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV Gross, Simasco Law, Jeff Kirshner Law, and law offices of Corey Silverstein. Now back to the show.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Nothing provokes panic and fear like the threat of a school shooting. Unfortunately, we've seen a sharp increase in students making copycat threats in order to gain notoriety. I'm Macomb County Prosecutor Eric Smith. Students, this behavior will not be tolerated. Felony charges will be brought against anyone who threatens the safety of our schools. Parents, please talk to your children and pass along this message. If you threaten our schools, it will cost you your future.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, we're back. So right when we came to the break, Corey, you were about to pop a question.
Yeah, something I just thought of that, nowadays a lot of people are working from home. They're working from home electronically because their companies are setting them up at home with remote logins and so forth. How does that work in terms of workers' compensation if someone gets hurt at home while they're on the clock for their employer?
That's an excellent question, because that is becoming a little trickier in terms of separating what they're doing work-wise as opposed to what they're doing domestically at home. It's the burden on the injured employee again to establish that what you are doing
I moved the computer at home, I moved the printer at home, my back went out, I'm there by myself.
Well, in some ways,
I was working.
In some ways, it benefits the employee. Why? Well, because it's your burden of proof. But you're going to say, I was moving my work computer. Well, what proof do they have that you weren't moving your work computer? So in some ways...
What were you printing at that time?
Exactly.
What if
were you printing a receipt from shopping online?
What if you fell off the chair? I mean, you're in your chair, you fall backwards and break your arm.
If you're in the course, if you're in the course and scope of your employment, then it's compensable under workers' compensation.
But what if the chair's your home chair and it's a lousy chair?
Well, it depends on what you're doing.
But you're working at that time,
right? If you're
doing
work,
your employer should have given you a better chair.
Well, potentially.
Maybe
that's an interesting. There must be a lot of claims on that coming.
There hasn't been yet, but I can foresee it a little bit. It's
as a result of people watching this show and Corey throwing out that idea, they'll probably see an influx of claims of people injured while working at home,
falling off their chairs.
I'm still not going to specialize in home office claims, but that's a theory.
And
Good
you know,
question.
and of course, Brian can't lift a printer, so we have to worry about him as well.
Well, I already sent a message to my office manager saying from now on, if anyone needs a printer moved in the office, to have Brian do it.
Or don't have Brian do it, because it sounds like he can't do it.
Well, I don't want.
I'm more
I
than
don't wanna
capable
move
of lifting. I choose not to because there are younger, stronger, less likely to hurt their back people around this office.
Valid point. All right, here, business question.
Like Jenny.
I own my own business, and it's profitable. And I was also working there as the manager of it, but it's not essential. I then get injured. Horrific back injury, car accident. I'm not going to be able to work for a year. Can I collect Social Security disability and still continue to take the profit from my business?
The answer is yes. Social Security disability does not depend upon your assets from what you have. So it's irrelevant what assets that you have for Social Security disability benefits, whether you have $100 or $100 million,
But I'm getting
you're
paid,
eligible.
But I'm making $200,000 a year in this
So
business.
that's the next issue, though, and it's becoming a little bit of an issue, and I deal with it a lot with my clients. We're dealing with an issue of active versus passive income. Active income is when you go to work every day and you earn a paycheck.
So
If you
I was
right.
taking out $250,000 a year when I was running the business.
Okay.
Okay, I can't work there anymore. I hired a manager. I'm paying him $100,000 a year. I'm not doing anything. I'm getting the $150 as a dividend now. I'm okay with that. I can keep that $150.
Yes, and what we're going to have to do, though, is it's going to take a little bit of work, though, to establish the fact and prove, whether it be letters, whether it be affidavits, whatever, that the money that you are receiving
It's just dividend.
is absolutely passive income. It's just based on owning a stock, owning a business, that you're just reaping the profits,
All right,
but it's
so-
not based on your sweat equity.
Gotcha. So if I was injured at work and suffered a severe disability, I could collect workers' compensation at work. I then apply. I no longer can go back to work. I hire a manager to do my job. He's getting $100,000 a year for the manager. I'm getting $150,000 a year of a dividend. Can I collect workers' compensation because of my work-related injury?
Yes.
And can I collect Social Security disability?
Yes.
And I can sit home and collect the money of the profit of the business.
Yes, although there's going to be a little bit of a coordination between your Social Security disability and your workers' compensation.
But you
So there
can
will
get
be
you can get both.
Absolutely get
and,
both.
and for an unlimited amount of time.
Yes,
Both.
But
But
you have
I
to, you have
understand
to be
that.
careful on that. I remember
So-
you telling me on a different show you have to coordinate it carefully in terms of how you size the benefits, right?
Well, yes, and that's dealing with the settlement too with regard to comp as it interplays with Social Security. But the law is if it's workers' compensation, Social Security disability, you're entitled to all of your workers' compensation. Social Security then is entitled to a credit for your active workers'
Let me
compensation.
give you the bottom line. If you've got a workers' comp issue or a Social Security disability issue, you don't want to do this on your own. You need to talk to Jeff to find out what your rights are and how to pursue them. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality. Thanks for watching.